much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters of the primordial sea. Mixing in progress. Ready to drink? Stock sample? Huh. They've also got all the synth pretty clearly labeled. Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super obvious.
Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea has been used for all these years?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each other after all.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need to determine two things. One, do you have the evidence to back up your claims?
I'm afraid not. At least not at this very moment.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home!
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around that time, regardless of age or gender.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved, he could have at least mounted a defense.
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt there were things that were more important to him. The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances case. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What?
If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. All of us would have stood to lose our lives. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right. But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no reason to exist. But by staying silent, we retain the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything for my sake. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clorinde, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and some even manic and twisted. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good grounds to reopen this case.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances case?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of timing. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing 2 gunshots. And, at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until I'm the only one left on the list. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, demoiselle. This was my mistake.
No, it's not your fault. I'm sure he had come prepared.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case of the serial disappearances? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your heart?
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me, and it never has been. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth, while that same agency has long been taken from them. The people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who suffered tragic ends due to their sense of justice. Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure some are coming to those of you in the audience as well. And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Freeze!
You're in for a little shock.
Hey! Go, go!
Cool it!
I'll race you there!
To the top! But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
You're in for a little shock.
Bet you can.
Freeze! Cool it! Dodge this!
Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy.
Freeze!
Blitz. Try not to enjoy this too much.
Hey! Be gone! No escape!
Come a little closer.
Wingblade!
Cool it! Don't push your luck.
You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy. Come a little closer.
Now the path is clear! Let's go!
Blitz.
Go, Baron!
Freeze!
Prepare to be blown away!
Let's spark things up a little. My.
Cool it! Dodge this! This one will be frozen in time.
Wingblade! Get him! Let it rain!
You've been a naughty boy.
What's the freeze? Cool it!
Oh no.
Freeze!
I knew I should have stayed home.
What's the hurry? Cool. Dodge this!
Go, go, Baron Bunny! Bet you can't keep up with me! Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Then let's hurry up and find some evidence so we can get back to the Opera House and help Navia. What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place for research. Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions on the primordial sea and use his theory as a foundation to achieve a breakthrough. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimens 22, 23, and 24 were dissolved. Sorry, Traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just that Paimon's never read something so scary before. How can someone write something that terrible in such a matter-of-fact tone? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he did all of these experiments. But did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vacher is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vacher was no victim, but personally took his lover and... No, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water? In any case, Paimon will write it all down. Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters of the primordial sea. Mixing in progress, ready to drink, stock sample? Huh. They've also got all the synth pretty clearly labeled. Whoa, there's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super obvious. What's written here? Nothing escapes Detective Paimon's eyes. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation report on him. Yep, it's about finding someone to assassinate Jacques and Callus because of a lack of confidence that Jacques himself would go through with it. This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the exact content of the key information Callus has passed on to certain members of his organization. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by the promise he's made to us, he will still have the upper hand. He can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. The only option left is to remove him from the picture entirely. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. They're all just so evil. What's all this? Aw, it's a bunch of really cute things! Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box! Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all these cute things labeled with different girls' names? Huh? You mean the girls from the serial disappearances? They were brought here? And then they were turned into water. And all the boxes of things, these names, that means... Oh, this is terrible! Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water! That means this is where they make all the synth! And that special water is the main ingredient! If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth, but the pure stuff can dissolve a human! Paimon will take notes on this incriminating evidence. We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like our theories were spot on, but... Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Nervalette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is probably destroyed everything to do with that name a long time ago. That way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. Paimon won't admit defeat to this guy either. You take that side and Paimon will take this side. Check everything carefully. We'll find something for sure. Ugh. Nothing at all. And Paimon can't even find snacks either. Whoa, really? Let Paimon see. Vacher. Isn't that Vacher's lover's name? Then you found her diary. Let's see. Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was so sweet, too. Oh, Paimon. So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all crossed out. Was she unhappy with all of them? The final name she decided on was... Marcel. Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for so long that he's Vacher and Vacher's grown son? Hey! Paimon still hasn't figured it out yet.
And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher?
Huh.